Yeah. 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 Okay.
My question to you, first of all, let's look at the landscape. There's some numbers to throw around. Nigeria, MTN alone has about 62 million subscribers. And out of those 62 million subscribers, there's a significant amount of those who are on the prepaid platform with MTN alone. And in Nigeria, we have almost about 183 million subscribers on GSM telephony alone. And of course, not to talk about the data in terms of, especially now, the people are online a lot. So when you have 62 million subscribers in a market where there's about 183 million, that gives you, in one market in Africa, that gives you a sense of the size of and scale of the telecom sector. Now, another figure that one likes to share is that they talk about Africa having almost 900 billion subscribers to GSM. Now, you are a company in the telecom space, Greydot Telecommunications, and you are an African company, and you were registered, I believe, in Botswana in 2013. Now, can you give our viewers a sense of which markets you're in, how you're doing, and where you are?
Thank you. Look, Greydot was initially born in South Africa in 2011 when we obtained our license from the regulator, ICASA. And we started as a telecommunication company. But over the years, I think we have changed from being a typical telecommunication company to more than a telecommunication, more than a payment provider. So we combine a couple of things that make us, let me say it, a unified communication platform provider. So talking about the continent, yes, we started in South Africa. We know this market pretty much well, but as Africans, we looked at our expansion strategy, and we then realized that there was a country just next door called Botswana. If you've been in that place, it's quite a nice place. It's peaceful, it's quiet, it's calm, and doing business, I think it's listed number 2 on the continent, or 3. So we thought, look, let's make it a head office, and the rest of our operation would be called subsidiaries. Looking at the number of potential users on the continent, yes, we are very cognizant of that, and actually that's our target. We want to reach out to every African, because this is an African solution to African problems. So Greydot right now is in 6 countries. We are in South Africa, of course. We have scored over the past 2 years with 500,000 consumers. We just moved in Botswana, where we launched at the beginning of this year, right before COVID caught up with us. We have launched in Zimbabwe. We have operation in Kenya. We have operation in Namibia. We have operation in DRC, and we just embarked into a journey with the Nigeria. So in all these countries, we have a license. We have applied for a license. We have local partners, and we have a registered company and entity. So more or less, that's what I would tell you about Greydot.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for that exposition.
All right. Well, the telecoms industry, Richard, seems already quite saturated. Just looking as an outsider or as a consumer, it seems that everybody's pretty much taken care of. And but you are entering that space still. We want to find out from you that what gap in the market have you identified, and that what are you targeting in this telecom space, and what your unique value proposition really is?
Well, Naisha, it depends on which portion of telecommunication you're referring to. If we're talking about traditional operators like those that we know, yes, they've reached a point of saturation in terms of SIM card penetration, and there's no more space for them, to grow. They've reached that cap. If you look at the trend in the market, we're moving toward the digital scenario. Let me put it this way, whereby digital networks are becoming the norm. And you've seen companies coming to the market. Let me name WhatsApp, for instance. WhatsApp came in, no infrastructure, nothing physical, nothing that you could refer it to. And you don't even know where they are. But guess what? We all use them on our phones. That's where the world is going as far as telecommunication is concerned. And innovation has not stopped, and it will not stop. So Greydot is part of those innovative companies. We as like you said, we are passionate about innovation, and we saw a niche market, a space where we could play with a lot of confidence in the digital portion of the network. So our network is digital, like I said, knowing physical infrastructure. What we have done, we've created one of the most difficult, or rather one of the most important part of a network, which is called the switch. We've got our own switch based in the cloud being internet, which means that switch can expand, can burst. So it's got no limitation. And if you look at it closely, we are a global operator because we can effectively reach out to any consumer in any country at any time on any network. And going back to my example about WhatsApp, I mean, it was not really a choice for these traditional operators. They had to embrace them. It was a do or die. So basically, that's the opportunity we saw in there. And Greydot has come in a very innovative manner. And what we did, we offered a unique solution that includes normal calling, which you would normally call a GSM call. We make the same call quality. We provide data in the form of hotspots, which means our clients are always connected. They don't need to go get data somewhere else. We provide in the same platform, we provide payments, we provide video calling, we provide instant messaging, we provide conference calling, we provide advertisement, virtual call centers. Let me stop there, right? The call center. By the way, our call center, if you now make a call to Greydot, if you have an issue, someone will pick up your call. But where is that someone? You never know. That person is somewhere on the planet. And that's why that person will pick up your call on a local number and talk to you in your language. And that's it. After 3 minutes, you are satisfied, and life continues. So that's Greydot in terms of our niche market.
Richard, you will agree with me that video conferencing, which is one of the products that Greydot Telecom offers, it is stable of suite of products. You'll agree with me that video conferencing has gone on, if we like, we can use the word, is gone global. Everybody is on Zoom, and some people are using, of course, more of the Facebook Live and Instagram Live. Those who don't have the network that they will have on social media are using those. Now, given that you're in that space where there's a revolution of this, how do you want to take advantage of the fact that you're nimble and you're smaller and you're new and fresh about the technology? How are you taking up opportunity in that space?
Well, this is new for some of them, new for other people, but not at all new for us, because we've been playing that space for many, many years. Something that I need to present here is that when we started our operation, We only focused on one particular product, which was fax to email. And we were the pioneers of that solution. Fax to email, as long as you talk about it, Greydot was at the forefront of that solution. We never presented ourselves as being the provider. We gave it to one of the major networks, and it was white label. So we've been playing in this space for a very long time. And to date, working from home or working remotely, it's something that we've been doing for about 3 years now. We closed our offices just across the road where I am. We sent all our employees home, and we just made sure that they've got a space to work from when they're at home. And all of them, I'll tell you what, are the most productive. And some people will call us prophets because we've been doing it for the past 3 years. We work from any location. So we knew this was happening. And we knew because we were playing in the same space where the digital networks are going to be leading the game. And we knew that video calling, conference calling, and all these value-added services will become the norm. And my colleague and I were laughing about the lockdown period where we were all locked, literally level 5, staying at home. And that's the moment we had the fastest growth in the company. So during lockdown, our numbers grew big time. So basically, looking at solution like you mentioned, they are, yes, being mostly adopted by most people, but for us, it's a daily operation. We work from our kitchen, we work from our bedroom, we work from our offices at home, and there's no difference. But we love that. We love that because clearly that cuts costs. You don't want to be managing a business and incurring costs that you could avoid. Get people to work from home, productivity will follow. Just put the tools, the right tools. What we have done in our instance, we give all our employees a desk phone, an IP phone connected to your fiber or Wi-Fi. You have a laptop and you have a cell phone. All three work in sync, and you always get your calls or make your calls without any difficulty. And just to conclude on this one, we use the same infrastructure in different places. We've got a phone that we literally, I would say, manufactured. We call it the bush phone. It's in a small bag. You take that IP phone, you take that Wi-Fi modem. We also put a small battery, the one that motorbike use, and a solar device. All of that keeps you working from any location, even in the bush. This is a replacement of the satellite phone. And we travel across Botswana, we take it along, same number that you will call us on, and same number that we'll call you on. So we've been really playing and enjoying that space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all sounds really, really fascinating, Richard, and just appreciating how your company has been really in the center of things, and some of these technologies, as you've said, are pretty new to most of us, thanks to COVID-19, bringing the need for us to engage these platforms, but definitely not a surprise to you. There's a term that you used earlier when you mentioned what Greydot offers, and you said unified communications services. Could you expand on that for us and just tell our viewers what is true unified communications? What does it consist of?
Well, by definition, unified communication is a single platform that provides access to multiple applications. So it's a one place where you get everything. So you get your calls, you get your video, you got your advertisement, everything in one single platform. You don't need to switch from this platform to the next, or switch from this computer to the next, or from this phone to the next. On the single phone, you make calls. On a single phone, you receive payment. You do your video conference like we do it. By the way, we're on the phone as we speak now. And on the same phone, I'll switch from this call to a normal traditional call, I'll make a payment. I'll do so many things. That's unified communication, and that has been our core product. Because even before we called ourselves Greydot, we were calling ourselves the one number. So the logic behind that was to have one single number that follows you everywhere. And in fact, with us, there's no roaming. We travel extensively in the region. We never roam. We are on the same network. All we need at some point is just a bit of data connectivity. So if you are at a hotel or at one of our houses in one of those countries, you got Wi-Fi, you are always connected to the world. People, in fact, I always enjoy the fact that I like surprising people when they call me or when I answer. I enjoy not telling them where I am. And close people at some time, I would say to them, look, I'm in this country. But I called you on your number. They said, yes. Yes, you got me on my number. I also called you on my number. I'm not roaming. So we don't feel the cost of traveling as far as telecommunication is concerned. So that's really where Greydot is playing. So we have a definition that we put in place. We call ourselves, our motto, let me put it this way. We always say more than talk, more than money, which means we don't just call. We do many things on the phone. We make payment on the phones. We use the phone as our tool. Actually, for this continent, most of our people should consider the cell phone like a tool, a money-making tool. So that's what we are about. We are about to give them capacity on that device to make money and have a decent life. So unified communication to us, it's exactly that.
Right. So that's why Nigeria for Greydot
Okay.
and why it's a little bit late in our view?
Well, it's not late as such. All this expansion exercise that we went through only happened last year. So we did all these companies in 1 year. So everything happens in terms of expansion last year in 2019. We went from 1 country to 6 countries. And of course, there's no doubt about it. Nigeria is the place to be. That's the #1 economy on the continent. And doing business in Nigeria makes a lot of sense, though it's not always obvious and easy. Like, you need to have the right partners locally. You have to abide the rules and regulations. So what we've been doing is to make sure that we have all of that in place. And at the moment, the company is fully registered. A license was applied. We were approved. We have all the papers in terms of tax and COVID-19 has come as a disruptor. We are just waiting for things to ease, and we should be launching soon, definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Congratulations on your entry into that important market.
Yeah. So Richard, here at Afrospace, we've dubbed 2020 the Year of Africa, and for us it's an important year as there are 17 countries that are going to be turning are turning 60 years in terms of the years of independence. And particularly August is a special month as there are 8 specific countries that are also going to be turning 60 years of independence. And so, just given what you've already shared in terms of the markets that you're entering in Africa, we want to know your plans for Greydot Telecommunications in terms of the wider plan for 2020 across Africa. Are you seeing yourselves by the end of the year in more countries than the 6 that you have mentioned so far?
Well, Nyasha, Africa is our home. Africa is our home. This is where we belong. This is the only place that we know, and we know very well. We master this place and the culture around. I've been privileged to have been traveling the continent, and in most countries where I've been, I always feel home. So we as Great African solution at the moment, Greydot is not, though I would say a high profile and some I would say mid-market or middle class users are on our network, but it was initially developed for the lower market, the lower end of the market. So we always have our people in mind, because we know this continent is not about rich people. We count them on the tip of our fingers. And we want to make sure that we create something which becomes a tool, which becomes a platform, an ecosystem that allow people to make a living. So what we've done, we have developed solutions that are talking to our realities. Africa is not about bank accounts. If you ask bankers, I think bank penetration is very low in terms of bank accounts. And we don't talk about e-commerce. We rather talk about mobile commerce, because the cell phone is our tool. We have, as we open our eyes, so as Greydot, we really look at the cell phone as the tool to empower our communities. What we do for that, we give cheap calls, affordable services. You use your cell phone to receive what we call a landline, a mobile landline. We provide mobile landline immediately. So you sign up now, you have a landline, and that landline can be transformed into a call center. So you run your business on the phone, on the go. And this is for entrepreneurs. So as Africans, I think we have brought something different. And this is something that I can also share with you. Out of our profits, out of our 100% profit, we only keep 60%. We give back 40% to the users in terms of reward, bonuses, / commission. And that reward, part of our wallet and payment system, can be translated into saving. For instance, you can save anything. So we are really working with African population to make sure that we also empower them. So it's a win-win situation. Yes.
Richard, the final question from me to you. You have been traveling around Africa, doing business in Africa for a couple of decades. And you have an vantage point of sitting in Southern Africa, which obviously in terms of technology and in terms of infrastructure, some countries in Southern Africa, perhaps South Africa, Botswana, you mentioned, even Namibia, are quite advanced in terms of infrastructure. Now, for us, we'd like to get a sense of your experience in terms of what do you think is the most rewarding experience you've had in doing business in Africa. Just for you to share with our viewers the best rewarding aspects of it.
Well, doing business in Africa has never been easy, but we have no choice. We got no choice. We have to succeed. We have to make it a better place. And I can tell you, technology is one of the enablers. We cannot just think of borrowing money from the World Bank and talking economics if we don't talk about technology, because technology is the biggest enabler, I would say. Let me remind you something, maybe you forgot about this. As far as the cellular phone technology is concerned, do you remember which country was the first to use this technology? Even in a bigger proportion of the world. Yes, it was the DRC. In the early 80s, a gentleman by the name company called Telecel, and they used the first cellular phone on the continent for about a couple of years before another company came in. This one here, still in the Congo. It was owned by the family, Bemba family. So we had two network operators using a very advanced technology during those days. But if my mind doesn't betray me, I think South Africa had its first cell phone network in '94. So Africa is about surprises, and the rest. They've become solutions of choice on the continent. People use them without asking questions. They don't ask, where are these guys? Which means we know exactly the configuration of this market, and we know what works and what understanding of cultures. Technology is concerned, I think we are comfortable. We are one of the companies of software development and telecommunication. We actually an open source house, so we produce our own solutions. Everything that you see on Greydot is designed by ourselves. So in this continent, we believe in Africa, and this is the place where we're going to really make it happen for our people.
Okay. Sorry, Richard, I just noticed that your answer, for the most part, there was a lot of interference. So what we can do is I can pose the question to you again, and we can edit this part because it's very important.
Okay.
If you're happy to take the question again,
all right,
I can do so. Is that fine?
Yes, please. That's fine to me.
Yeah. So I noticed that the question, when you posed it, when you answered it, there's a lot of interference. So I'm just going to ask you the same question. You've been traveling around Africa, been doing business in Africa for the last 20 years or so. And in those business models that you've been pursuing, you've created businesses across Southern Africa and other parts of Africa. What aspects of doing business in Africa do you find most rewarding for you? Please tell our viewers.
Well, Africa, like I said, is our home, and we believe in this continent. We love it, actually. There's no better place than Africa. Like I said, I've traveled the place. I've always been feeling home wherever I've gone. And this legendary welcoming is something that we always, live with. So as far as technology is concerned, I think Africa is very advanced. We tend to undermine ourselves. We tend to ourselves. On this continent, we've got high skills. We've got very smart people. And like the example that I'm going to give you again about the first cellular cell phone on this continent was a story in the DRC. A company called Telecel. A gentleman by the name of Nico created that company, and he offered the first cellular phone. You see the brick, that big cell phone. So it was in the early 80s. And then came another company run by the Bemba family. We had two networks right there in the 80s running cellular telephony. And if I'm not mistaken, the first cellular company in South Africa was created in '94. So we've maybe information doesn't as well are very smart, are very technology driven. Look at the way we have embraced these over the top WhatsApp, and they don't know. They don't even know where they come from. They don't know who owns them. They don't know where they operate from. You even don't know who to talk to when you have an issue. You just have access to information, and we put in our deepest secret in those platforms. So it means there's a trust in terms of technology, and there's a sense of knowledge. And everything else that comes to the market would be, and I believe, would be easily adopted, especially if it comes from Africans. Because like I said before, Greydot always work with our people in mind. We know that we don't have a lot of rich people on this continent, but we have people who need the service. So we need to bring that service to them. Compared to the banks where there's a slow penetration of bank accounts, there's been a faster adoption of, which means people know what they want. And if you give it to them in the right configuration, they will always embrace it. So that's our view of the continent, this beautiful continent.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, Richard. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our interview, but we really would like to thank you for taking the time out to come and enlighten us on what you are doing at Greydot Telecommunications, and also just to give us a sense of the role that telecoms has to play on the continent, and how the continent is developing with regards to adopting more telecommunications technologies. Certainly, I think there's a lot of potential, and the space that yourselves have entered is an exciting space that we look forward to turning to more local solutions for our problems, as you said, Greydot is trying to do. And I will now say my goodbyes, and I'll start with Shona. In Shona, we say Sarai Jakanaka. In Swahili, we say Kwaheri, and in isiZulu, Salakahle.
Yes, in Yoruba, I will say Odabo. In Igbo, it's Kachifo. And in Hausa, that is spoken by more than 75 million people across West and Central Africa, it is Segobe or Sanjima, which means see you later. Thanks, Richard.
Well, thank you. In Lingala, we say Botikala Malamu, Nkolo Azalanabino. In Chiluba, we say Noasha Labimpa, Vidibukula Anulama. So that's my greetings to the people of the center.
Yes, awesome. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you.
Goodbye.